As rural Americans, we have a unique understanding of and connection to the land. Whether we ranch, farm, log, or simply recreate, what we do today determines our tomorrow. As stewards of the land, it's our duty to ensure that our children and grandchildren can enjoy the outdoors in a similar manner that was afforded us. Join the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and ensure the future of elk, other wildlife, their habitat, and our hunting heritage. Visit rmef.org today.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 51 of According to Flint. And you know, through all our first 50 episodes, we really haven't had that many young or current rodeo cowboys, bull riders, but we're changing things this week. And why not have the reigning PBR world champion, Dalen Swearingen? He's got an interesting story being from New York and what he's been through with his family. And he's won at every level: junior high, high school, college, Canadian champ, National Finals Rodeo, now the PBR world champion. So sit back, pour yourself a Pendleton whiskey, and enjoy our conversation with Dalen Swearingen. Well, welcome to episode number 51, According to Flint, and honored, happy, thrilled to have the 2022, the current reigning, as Matt West says, the reigning and defending world champion, even though they're the same thing. It is Dalen Swearingen. Dalen, I told you before we started recording, you're like one of the first real current young bull riders we've had. Nice job. Good job.
Oh, yeah. Feel the honor.
I want to cover something that wasn't on my original outline, but I think it's important for people to know about bull riders. As we do this, not live, that's how podcasts work. As we do this, we're a few hours later than we had planned because you're a little late because you were tending to one of your friends, Dalton Castle. You've been up in North Dakota at a bull riding up there. So you spent some time with Dalton Castle because he got injured, right? And without getting too detailed, because medical stuff, it's what you guys do, right? You make sure everything's okay before you take off.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time on the weekends, we're all just there. It's just the boys, really. Like his wife wasn't there and stuff like that at first. And so we just all make sure everybody, you feel comfortable, and we just help each other out in any way we can. And I feel like that's in rodeo and everything in general.
Yeah. Did you make sure he was going to survive? Everything was okay with Dalton?
Oh, yeah. He's going to survive. He's one of the toughest guys alive.
Listen, Dalton's got to be tough, though, because I'm going to start calling him Mr. Glass. And here's the thing. Dalton Castle has been through a lot of injuries, but they're legit. Like, is it that Dalton never lets go? Because he's in some wrecks, man.
Yeah, I think he's all try. And I think he should go to a 100X helmet. I think that would help him out a little bit. I saw the helmet he was riding in, but like I think he just tries so much every time. Like he's on there for 10 seconds, or his hand is in there for 10 seconds every time.
He's a fragile little fella, isn't he? Yeah. He's just fragile.
I guess.
I think Dalton makes me laugh. Like there's something dry out of the corner of his eye, shit-eating grin about him that makes me laugh. Am I on track there?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think his little girl, Willow, she has the same kind of deal.
I think when I watch crowds or friends of mine that aren't around bull riding or rodeo as much as I am, they want to talk about injuries more than we do. Do you notice that during, you and I have done a lot of those Q&A elite seat deals. When you're in cities, first thing they ask is if you've ever been injured or what's your worst injury. it's not something we sit around and talk about. Do you find that a little annoying? It not in a mean way, but I find it a little annoying. You?
Yeah, it's definitely like one of the most asked questions that I get asked. And like I try to focus on the positive stuff. So I try to first thing I can do to get out of that, I'm trying to jump and get onto a different topic.
Sure. Yeah, you can tell. And they just want this insight when we're in a Chicago or New York or something. And it's sort of like asking an NFL player if they've ever been injured. Well, hell yeah, they've been injured. But I think what concerns me sometimes in myself is we should never get used to seeing our friends get hurt. And I don't think we get used to it. It's sort of like Dalton, you taking care of Dalton. Does it become kind of something that is part of the job that you take care of, like a business that you have to compartmentalize a little bit, because it's still hard though to see a friend like Dalton get hurt like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't like being in hospitals and stuff. And kind of once made like a bunch of us, there was more people in the room. I kind of like eased out just because I don't like the noises. But I think it's just something, like you want to make everyone feel comfortable, and you want to be comfortable, and you want people to feel like you're supporting them, or you want to feel that support when you're in that situation. But at the same time, you don't want to be in it.
Hospitals. And the only thing I had a heart attack once, and the one positive of having a heart attack, I could just lay there and people brought me stuff. Like, but most of the time it was needles and tests and
not the fun stuff.
You this last regular season during the world title race, you've become, don't know if it's a viral video, but it's big on social media, where you got clipped in the head and broke your helmet. It knocked you unconscious slightly. I mean, there's a difference between being unconscious for a long time and getting, that sounds terrible, yeah. But you know what I mean. You said something about Dalton's helmet earlier. The technology and what you guys wear, really your injury wasn't as severe as maybe what people thought, was it?
Yeah, no, for sure. Cause that helmet's made to take that break, like how it looked like he just stepped on me and like there was a hole in the helmet and everything. But like it's made to take that force and kind of spread it out. I don't know the logics about it, but I know it's kind of something like that. And I mean, you definitely saw it for me. Like he stepped on me clearly on my head, but next couple hours, I was still kind of out of it, but I was walking around talking to everybody and stuff like that.
He more clipped your head. When I wasn't very far away.
Yeah.
He clipped your head. Like that's so much better,
Yeah. Like it was just kind of more like a graze kind of off of it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what a great, as far as this sounds terrible, public relations, selling tickets to, and the helmet company itself to say he's not injured. It broke in the right spots that it was supposed to break, right?
Yeah.
And luckily your head's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you took care of our friend Dalton. It just depresses me. I think somebody used this as a negative against me the other day, that I say somebody's good for business. Dalton is, because he's so good with the fans. He's got a cool look. He's funny. It breaks my heart that he's had groin issues, and what do you see in him? Do you see you're his friend. Does he take this pretty well, or is he getting frustrated with injuries he's going through?
I think every injury they kind of go through is frustrating, and he might be a little frustrated, but I don't think he's not very, he's good at keeping everything in. And I think, this one, I think he'll probably be kind of right. Like once his ribs and everything heal up, if his jaw's still wired shut, he'll still kind of be like Mason, riding with it wired shut and stuff like that. But I think he's super tough. Like when it happened, he was just sitting back there, and he's like, "Yeah, I broke my jaw. Like my jaw's broke." And then Jesse Petrie take him to the hospital, and he's tough. That's for sure.
What is the what is the injury as a bull rider? What is the injury or a couple that I don't want to say the kiss of death, but one that you just go, damn it. Like the one that you want to avoid or that affects you the most as a bull rider. What would you say?
I think lately, I think it'd probably be the groins because, I mean, you see Cole, he just tore his other groin. Chase, I don't know what he did to his groin. You know, like those, I feel like all of them can be worked through, but it's just how you work through them and how much you put through them. But the groin is probably one of the biggest ones.
Who was the first one you said? Cole
Melanson.
Oh, Cole Melanson. Ugh, talk about a guy been going through injuries. Holy cow. The groin injuries would have been the one I picked.
Yeah.
Like, because that's the whole basis, right? You're riding more. It's a lot of lower body. That's what, have you had groin injuries?
I've never had real bad groin. Like I've had some strains, but I've been really blessed with good groins, and
that's a great line right there. I'm blessed with great groins. Me too. Are you battling anything right now?
My hand kind of gets sore. It really gets sore when those bulls go right. I don't know if it's kind of like the way the pressure goes to through my thumb. But it'll kind of go like in Big Sky, it kind of went numb and stuff. But we taped it, and it's feeling a little better.
That's just pain tolerance, isn't it? Like structurally, it's a little bit like what you said, Dalton. People would be amazed. Okay, he's got a broken jaw and broken ribs, but as far as mechanism and structurally, that's an injury you can come out of.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
your hand. There's a lot of guys with hand issues. You got to kind of ride through it, and it doesn't affect you mechanically, but it's pain tolerance, right?
Yeah, for sure. But other than that, I feel great.
Are you tough? Do you have good pain tolerance? Like all you guys way better than me, but what do you think?
I have good pain tolerance when I'm around other people. You know, once I got back here at the house, I might be over there kind of milking it, something like that. But yeah.
Who right now, or that you've known that you've ridden with, who had could ride through injuries, amazing pain tolerance of the guys you know or have known?
I mean, I think it'd probably be JB or Chase, just because like JB could switch hands. Like if he had a broke hand, he'd switch hands. He did that for a little while. Like I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I think I think he's the number one guy anybody would say through my career. I've known tough guys, but JB, because it was just one thing after another.
Yeah.
Like I remember in Calgary when he destroyed that shoulder, and I saw him the next day, and he was trying to ride still, and there was nothing there.
Nothing moving, just flop.
Yeah. I guess enough beer and cigarettes, everything, you're good to go. Maybe.
Yep.
Okay, let's get this out. I think it's cool when we introduce our world champion and he's from New York. You know, I don't know. I think it's a real cool thing for PBR and for rodeo. When you went to the NFR a few years ago, they did not announce you from New York, correct?
Yeah, because I claimed the Southeast Circuit, so at that time I was using my parents' address in Georgia. But it was just to get the circuit rodeos in the southern region.
So I'm going to be critical of the PRCA right now. Why would you not, as an announcer or somebody, say, here's this guy, it says he's from Georgia, but this guy was born and raised in New York. Why? And like in the opening, you should be carrying the New York flag at the NFR. Yeah. I thought it was a huge mistake. Did it ever come up to you to do that?
Yeah, like kind of like I want people to know, like kids from coming back from the Northeast, to know that they can leave and they can be just as competitive. They just have to get out and find a place to be. But yeah, that kind of crossed my mind a little bit, but at the same time, it was pretty cool. Didn't have to carry a flag.
Come on, man. Like, You're a good horseman. You're a cowboy, Dalen.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a mistake. I just think I thought the NFR could have really capitalized on that. But nobody asked me. So,
Yeah.
hey, do you know, speaking of carrying flags, who's Jerome Davis is your coach right now? Who's Colby Yates the coach of? Austin? Oh yeah, Arizona.
Yeah.
Do you know that, everybody at the NFR, you didn't win around at the NFR though, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? So,
Yeah.
you know how you have to take the victory lap on the horse?
Yeah.
You know that Colby Yates, he made it the NFR when I was there. He would just step out and tip his hat. This is a little fodder for you because he cannot ride a horse.
He can't?
Zero. He wouldn't even, I think he just took the fine and would not ride the horse in the victory lap.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay. So
they like to find you there.
Yeah. Well, so when you see him these next couple of weeks,
yeah.
Like, hey, they're making all the coaches take a lap on a horse here. It's going to be really cool. See what he says.
Okay.
I know, and you and I have talked about this a lot. So excuse me if we've had this conversation, but as soon as you say this kid's from New York, I know like at the high school finals and everything, instantly people out West, the vision they have is a city, that you're from the city. Not really overall, not much of the state of New York is city, is it?
Yeah, no, like the first time we were ever to the city is when we took bulls there for the PBR. But like we live like 5 hours from there, kind of like we actually live closer to Canada than we do to New York City. But yeah.
So as you were growing up in upstate New York and going to high school rodeos and things, really visually and what you were going through day to day wasn't all that much difference, maybe different than maybe a kid high school rodeoing in Montana, maybe?
Yeah, like we had we only had one or two indoor during the winter. Everything else was normally in the spring or in the fall. So like, I feel like it was a lot of the same. We might not have had the numbers that y'all had or anybody had. Cause like, I know there was 1 year that I was only bareback rider, 1 year I was only a bull rider, but there was always a handful of us. But like the funniest thing I ever heard was at the high school finals one time was like, I was just sitting there watching, and these people behind us, there was somebody from New York coming out in the bull ride, and they're like, I heard they qualify on mechanical bulls. And like who I was living with, we just laughed, and then like the next day I went out and won the first round or something at the high school final. But it was kind of cool to kind of like listen to them, how they think about it. And then, yeah.
I've heard that story. You didn't say a word to him, did you? You just sat there like you do now and giggled,
yeah.
Right?
I just sat there and yeah.
I want you to know when I was because my girls made it the same time as you, Shelby did. And my girls, but I heard the same thing at the high school finals. Hey, did you hear these kids have never even been on a live bull? And I was like, complete fiction, right? Complete false.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember probably the same year, I'm sitting by a friend of ours, a young person who, I'll tell you this right now. One of my favorite things about going to the junior high and high school finals when my girls were young is I loved seeing kids that were from places like Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, New York, because I wanted to see what kind of standard we had in Montana. But it's cool to see them come all that way to Gillette or Rock Springs. And this girl sitting kind of down from me, somebody came out from Ohio or New York, and she said, oh my God, why do these kids even come? Why do we got to sit through this when they know they're not going to win? And I said, let me tell you something. There's a Swearingen kid from New York, and that kid's a cowboy. And she's like, really? And that's the year you won the bareback riding, I think. And so I've defended you, Dalen.
Yeah, thank you. I think last year or 2 years ago at the junior high finals, a kid won the shoot dogging. But I think it just kind of, there's not as many of us, but there is some.
Yeah. You ever did? And I know I saw him at Fort Worth at the World Finals. Bobby Del Vecchio. Does he ever come talk to you?
I think I met him one time at the NFR, but like it was very brief if it was, but like I think it's pretty cool to like hear like if they're talking about me or something and then Bobby Del Vecchio gets brought up just because he was kind of like the first one from, like he was from New York City, right?
Yeah, he was a city guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember as a young kid, watching Bobby Del Vecchio at the NFR, and he was the first one. He wore like shiny shirts with fringe and stuff, and he'd acknowledge the crowd, and acknowledging the crowd back then was as much celebration as you ever saw from anybody. Yeah. So Bobby Del Vecchio is real flamboyant as far as interacting with the crowd. So, yeah, I've always wondered that if there's a connection with you guys, but
yeah, no, not really.
Not really. You're too good. You could kick his butt, man. I would imagine just looking at you, like at the high school finals, your experience there, kids didn't really know you were from New York unless he said something, but, I don't know. I guess you kind of covered what your experience was like. It just really interests me. For one, I want to know when you I know you went to Rock Springs, right?
Yeah.
So did you guys look at like brochures of what Wyoming looks like, the big mountains and the lakes, and you get to Rock Springs and go, what the hell where are we?
No, I mean, I always thought it was like, which the first one we went to was Gillette, and we always drove.
Yeah.
Or the first one we went to was in New Mexico, Gallup, and kind of seeing there. Like I never looked at any of that kind of stuff or anything like what you're saying, but I mean, I always thought like the Wild West, and like seeing the horses and the wild horses and stuff like that was really cool.
Oh, you didn't get attacked by Indians or see any covered wagons though, so you were good.
No, none of that.
It could happen. You never know. Hey, what you went to college? You were a college national champ, and I should say, bring up you every level. High school, you were college champion, Canadian champion, NFR, PBR finals. Did you need the college experience? You went to what college? Tell me, I can't remember.
Panola. Yeah.
Well, a lot of kids now, I think if you're a really good bull rider, there's so many opportunities to make money as a bull rider. I think the college experience is real valuable and would benefit a lot of kids. What influenced you to make that decision to go to college?
For me, it was probably like Jeff Collins is the coach there. So he's a world champion in the bareback riding. And like his mentality is just like, I wanted to be around that. And like just me being from New York and having the opportunity to have stuff paid for to come live in Texas pretty much for free for going to school and riding. Like it was an opportunity for me to get into a new aspect and out of my comfort zone. Like I didn't know anybody when I moved to Texas, and it was really big for me because I got to be around Jeff and like his mentality and like seeing the mentalities of world champs. Like I was around very successful people in the Northeast, but not world champs that like the first year I ever tried to make the NFR, like I didn't even know there was that many rodeos you could go to. Like I went to a rodeo every single day. Like I thought 5,000 added was a big rodeo. And then when you're trying to make the NFR, you see a 5,000 added rodeo and that's like, maybe I can dip off there, but like, you don't even go to those anymore. Like, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I got to tell you, cause I think he means something to you. And I'm looking at Logan, wondering if he remembers. I got almost the exact same answer from someone else on this show. When I asked the process, and he said the same thing. You know who it was? Jerome Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was from, at that time, he was from North Carolina, and he said, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody. Do you remember, Logan? And he almost said the exact same thing. He just didn't know. He needed to go to Texas, meet people and figure out, because like I know, being a world champion in rodeo isn't always about crowning the best one or most talented. It's about the one that has crap figured out, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so he said the same thing. Like, it's about entering, traveling. It's funny what you say about dipping off to a 5,000 added. A lot of rodeos in Montana, you know, they're those kind of 5,000 added. They hope those guys stop, because really that's what you got to do, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you got like if you can go to a one that HD's taking bulls to, it might be 5,000 added, but you're gonna win. Like, I won Belle Fourche, and I think I was the only one to ride one time, and it paid like 12,000. It was like, I think it's like a 6,000 added rodeo or 8,000, but it's just like, I feel like there's opportunities everywhere, especially if the guys aren't there, right?
Yeah. You got to be, but man, you got to be smart about it. Our old friend Jerome Robinson was smart about it. There was a saddle bronc rider forever from the Midwest they used to talk about, and he'd go around and enter all those small rodeos, Derek Clark, and he'd go do that. They'd know which small ones are worth it to enter. You got to have that savvy. And it takes a while to learn it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It takes you probably like I rodeoed Harp one year and then kind of went the second year, but like, you learn which rodeos not to go to, who has the good bulls, who might not. Yeah.
Who helped teach you? Who were you with?
Yeah. So it was actually when I started entering, at first, like, I was entering the bareback riding and the bull riding, and it was throwing me off. So like in the Reno short round in the bareback riding was my last pro rodeo ever. Just because I wasn't getting up, and my goal was to make it to the NFR in the bull riding, and it was just throwing me out, throwing me up different days. And so I kind of had to pick what I wanted to do. But I rodeoed with JC Mortensen, so he's younger than me. And so we were just going. That's all we did.
Oh, yeah. Waiting for this answer of, oh, geez, Josh Frost. He really had. No, you and JC just eating bubble gum and candy bars. Away you go.
Protein bars and tuna and crackers. I think I was just too shy to ask, like, all those guys, like, hey, like, what would I have to do to get in with you? Like, looking back now, like, I would have loved to jump in with somebody that actually, like, I might still be rodeoing if that may be the case, you know, like, if I got in and enjoyed it. I'm glad I'm not,
but you're right. That's a good point. That maybe it makes for a different experience, because I'm a big believer in great bull riders are great bull riders. I don't care what the letters are in front of it. There's a great lineup of rodeo bull riders. And I've heard people say, like, well, why doesn't he go to the PBR? Because he loves rodeo. You know, it's a different world. And there was a time when I loved the rodeo life, and I kind of burned out on it. So I went PBR stuff. So could you see yourself going, try and make the NFR again? What do you think?
I mean, I could kind of like what you're saying. Like, I think me and JC, we went so hard, like rather he was driving or I was driving, but we were going to a rodeo. Like, we literally went to a rodeo partner every day in the summertime, and it just kind of burnt me out. Like, you'd get in the truck, go to another one. And I mean, I loved seeing the country and I loved going to all these rodeos, but it just got like, and I was also going to the PBR. So it just wore me out a little quicker. And it was, maybe if there was like a handful of us and we were, you know, smarter about our entries and stuff like that, it would have been a lot different, but yeah.
And maybe had a sweet van. Like sweet van with carpet stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, something popped up just a couple of days ago, coincidentally, a story the PBR did. And I'm kind of doubling back on your being in New York and stuff. And it was the story. Your mom's a cool lady, man. When I see her, and she was so good on that story that the PBR posted about everything she's been through. Your mom was shot. She was in a bad relationship. You have a brother, right? Is it the two of you?
Yeah, the two of us.
And I think you mentioned it. You beat me to it in the story. All I could think the whole time was no wonder. And because I admire what you do, and I think you kind of make me laugh. And I thought no wonder with the kind of person his mom is, but man, that's a tough lady. You couldn't help but learn from that, right?
Oh yeah, my mom's super tough and everything she's been through, and like, but she always kept me and my brother Colton like a priority, and that kind of kept her moving forward in life, like helped her keep getting better, and but like everything she's done for us, like we wouldn't be where we're at today. Like she had so many chances to say, all right, this is just way too hard or whatever, and taking an easier route, but she always kept us pushing us to help us do what we love to do, and raising us to be really, I think, good guys.
Oh, I think pretty good guys. Yeah. Where's your brother?
He lives in Durant, Oklahoma. He's been bulldogging. He actually just had a knee surgery a couple weeks ago, so he's taking a little time off right now. But
what is he? Is he older than you?
No, he's younger.
Okay, I'm trying to think if would I have seen him at high school finals? Trying to think.
Yeah, you probably would have. He was in the bronc riding, calf roping, and steer wrestling.
Yeah. Because I think you are the same age as Shelby, and then is he a couple of years younger than you?
Yeah, he's like a half a year or something.
Okay, so probably would have seen him then after that. So yeah, is he bigger?
Yeah, he's tall. He's a lot taller than me. He's like 6 foot partner.
Okay. Well, you said he was a bulldogger. So you
were
a
little bulldogger.
Yeah. Were you a timed event guy? Like at nationals and stuff? Were you in all that?
At junior high, like I breakawayed 1 year, but that was it.
Well, it was New York. You just had to enter, right?
Yeah. Had to catch one.
Catch one. Anyway, I just, what's your mom is good though?
My mom's really good. She's a traveling nurse now, and so it's pretty cool. Like she went, like it all happened in North Carolina. We moved back to New York to be with her parents and lived in the basement there, and then she went to school to be a nurse, and now she's a traveling nurse, and so she kind of goes wherever she wants to go, and she's been running barrels, and so yes, sir.
Cool lady. Tell her I said hello, by the way. When I didn't World Finals, I didn't really everything was a scramble. I didn't see everybody. And speaking of that, World Finals, so last year, I think people thought it was such a short season, but really event wise, it wasn't. It was a grind for you guys, wasn't it? We didn't have not only the break in the middle, but we usually had a couple weekends in that stretch. Like it or hate it, did you keep momentum? Just 1 week after another, a couple midweek events. That's almost getting back to what you were doing rodeo. Well, how'd you like that?
Yeah, I liked it. I think, the best way to be in bull riding shape is to get on bulls. So we were getting on bulls all the time. And so I guess when you have a good year and you're feeling healthy, it's good. But like you just have to have a really strong mentality, because anytime something little happens, you get soared up. That's when it can start going down. It can rather start going down way quicker or start going up. So like the mentality, the way I had to look at it was a lot different for me. Like, and for me, I was trying to go to, I know for a fact I went to more events than Kaiki and all them. Like I started right after the PBR finals last year and went to the Canadian finals, and like went to the Tour and Pros and stuff like that anytime that I could get on. And so, yes, sir.
Yeah. Was there a point you jumped up there right away? Was there a point in the season you went, damn, I could win this? Or were you just one at a time? Yeah, it has to be in your mind, doesn't it? Like I could be a world champion.
Yeah. So like they made a really big deal, like coming in to the first event, that I was the number one guy, which I felt like that was kind of dumb because it wasn't even, nothing even started.
Yeah.
But
I remember. By the way, I remember that because you had been to Canada and some touring pros, and we went to the first one. They said, well, we got to introduce Dalen. He's the number one guy because we do those openings. I said, number one out of what? Like we haven't even, okay, go ahead. I just was letting you know. I was in on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they made a really big deal about it and stuff like that. And then that was, I think the first event was a 1-day event, right? So
yeah, Indianapolis.
Flying out that next morning super early, and somebody comes up to me and says, I'm not going to give any names, but they say, wow, that didn't last long.
Tell me who it was. Come on.
It was Cole Melanson. He came up to me right before I'm sitting by myself, comes over and said it to me. And then
Mr. Sunshine himself, Cole Melanson.
And so like, I mean, I was like, wow, all right. So then like it was really cool way to win it. I mean, I haven't said anything to him about that, but I definitely like, I can imagine like that was something like it helped drive me to move me forward.
Let's you got to call Cole. Like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but I guess it lasted longer than you thought. Something. Come on. Cole, he's always somber, like grouchy look. He looks like a grouchy Cody Johnson. And that's awesome. Did you get overwhelmed at all going into World Finals? They used to media I remember the one year Justin McBride was in the lead, and it was a 2-weekend event back then too. And after the first weekend, he had to just say, leave me alone. I need to ride bulls. Maybe they've learned from that, but did you feel overwhelmed at all with all the demands of that?
There wasn't like, I feel like I could have, but like all like when you're walking into the event, they need to know what time you're going to be there to get you walking in. And then like the after deal, but it wasn't really too bad. Like the biggest thing for me was probably like, how we did like the stairs, like where we stared at it, like Joao was the first week and then Kaiki was the second week. Well, Joao, like I was a wrestler. So like, you do all those stare offs and stuff like that.
When you're face to face. Yeah.
Which I don't know if they've ever done that before. I don't remember it ever happening, but like, that was way different for me in the bull riding, like, and Joao, he's kind of like, you can tell he's antsy up there. But then Kaiki comes up there and he just goes, he doesn't even blink or anything, so it's like totally different feel from those two different guys. But that was probably like one thing I was like, wow, I'm glad that's over.
So Kaiki was right at you. He just like,
Kaiki was staring right at me, and like I was staring right back at him. And then, you could see Joao kind of moving around. Like he kind of walked forward, stuff like that. Like he didn't like being up there as much. But so like, I feel like with the team deals, like the teams that hold their confidence going into these events, I feel like you'll definitely see that showing.
Yeah. Cause like in that opening, you're really not up against the battle, you're not riding against them. It's not you're not fighting with them. You're riding a bull. So it's a weird. Kaiki's got a stare on him.
Yeah,
he's like, and there you did you like should have made faces at him.
Yeah, I got him to laugh up there.
Yeah. So what about the team thing? By the way, I think you got off the hook a little bit. Maybe it's luck or the way the PBR did the format. I think where you're going to see some demands as the world champion are when the regular season comes back around the end of November, because then we sell the world champion. Teams were selling team. I think that's maybe where you got to anticipate that you're going to have more demands. You think?
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yay for you. What kind of guys, listen, you're funny. The two top guys in the MVP thing that have performed the best through the first weekend are Jose and Dalen Swearingen. So it's the usual suspects, I like to say. Are you seeing guys really benefiting from coaches, trainers, just the camaraderie of it? And maybe what kind of guys You seeing some guys come up that you didn't suspect?
Yeah, like the Cole Robinson, or the guy that just won
Yeah.
Casey Robinson. Like he made a really good bull ride. Like guys where you wouldn't see them if he didn't get drafted on a team. And I think that's really cool. Like I know being at the Carolina at our training camp, like it was really cool how we got to like normally at the normal events we have the Brazilian locker room and the American locker room, and now we're joining a team together, and I feel like that's kind of cool to see their kind of aspects on the sport and working alongside them.
So far, you like it?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some stuff that could get better, but I think the concept is kind of cool. I think it's cool. I think it just might need some touch ups, or I think
Well, for bull riding fans, really, no matter the format, it's still good bull riders and good bulls, right? I mean, it's great bull riding.
Yeah. Like I feel like the bonus round in Cheyenne was, if you compared it to any of our short rounds, it was probably one of the best short rounds that we've had in a really long time. I felt like we rode a lot of bulls, and
yeah, I'm with you on that completely. Yeah. Feel the same. What does Jerome Davis mean to you? Like describe Jerome Davis, the kind of guy he is to you and what he can do for you.
Yeah. So like I've went to multiple Jerome Davis bull riding schools like throughout when I was young and stuff. Like I went to 3 or 4 of them, and I'd spend like a week or so at there. And it was actually my first PBR event was in Archdale at Jerome's bull riding, and like I still have his signature and the autographs I got from Brian Canner. I can't remember who else was there, but like it was pretty cool that was my first ever PBR event watching. And then later on, I'm on his team. I've went to his schools, like his outlook on life and on everything. He's just a very positive guy. And like, I mean, he gets us fired up before we go out there as a group. Like he gets that group fired up, and, you know, he has great morals and a great faith. And same with Tiffany. And now my girlfriend is from over there, like that it's their goddaughter, and it's just pretty crazy how everything circled around.
Did the sneak in there, didn't you? Hey, yeah. Jerome. Hey, was she waiting over along the edge and you were? Oh.
Yeah.
That if there's a way I make you not say anything and giggle, I ask you about her, Lauren, right? But, come on, man. You're in a house there. If you decide to marry her, I want you to call me and tell me. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So next week when you propose.
Better be waiting on it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you on Jerome Davis. He's one of my favorite people and was forever. I think you're right. Those two, him and Tiffany, talk about strong. You know, you grew up same way in a household with a mom strong like that. And that I would see you as, I think you get it with them and what they've been through and what they've had to dig into to make life good. You know, I see some similarities there, I guess.
Yeah. And he's always working, you know, he's helping us, all these bull riders, become better. And like, he never quit doing anything. And I felt like that's really cool.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I've been doing this thing, these little videos. And actually we had a discussion. Me and Paulo Crimber was episode number 50, and he made it to the NFR, won the average at the NFR. Did you know that? Paulo Crimber won the average at the NFR. And I was there. That's how old he is. And so we were talking about, and he had his NFR buckle on. Are you wearing a buckle right now?
No.
I know. See, I'm not either. I was going to ask you okay. When you tell me something, when you go, like when you rode North Dakota or Cheyenne, do you have a one buckle that you wear consistently for a reason?
Yeah. So like, I never really wore a buckle I wear a buckle when I ride now. And it's actually a buckle that I want at Jerome's. It's like real small. and it means something because it was like I went to Jerome's bull riding and won it, and that's my first ever PBR. So I felt like it was really cool to wear that buckle, and I wear that when I ride just so it's not jabbing me. But like the buckle that I've always worn for the past couple years is the one from Chicago. Just because that was the first event I ever won. But once I get this new buckle, I'm gonna wear it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got a new one coming, don't you? Yeah. The gold one.
Gold.
Gotta wear that. You gotta wear the gold.
Yeah, I mean, I worked my whole life for it. It's a dream. I'm gonna wear it.
When I won the Coors Man in the Can, I wear those buckles a lot because they're like a PRCA World Champion buckle. That next spring, I was at a rodeo in California, and a good friend of mine that was a pickup man, Lloyd Faria from California. He said, "Where's your gold, man?" I said, "Man, I'm not going to wear the gold buckle. It's too nice." He said, "That's why they make them. That's World Champion. You wear the gold." And from that day, I put a gold buckle on. So anyway, well, I don't want to keep you. I know you haven't slept because you were taking care of our friend Dalton, but I appreciate the time, and I appreciate, I'm doing a call here in a couple of days with youth, and the theme is relationship building. And I always tell kids, people, you can win or lose all you want, but what people remember is how you are outside of the arena. And I just want you to know, I always enjoy seeing you. My two daughters who are your age, they comment all the time that Dalen goes out of his way to come say hello and ask how we're doing and how rodeo's going. And that means a lot to them. And that means a lot to me. So I appreciate that, Dalen, and keep it up because that's going to go farther than any buckle. So,
yeah, sir.
So listen, go keep riding them. All right. Sir. Stay healthy. Take care of your friends and take care of that little blonde girl that's with you. All right.
Okay. Yes, sir. I will. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks, buddy.